Hi friends, welcome to Faithelicious and Friends. My name is Faith. I like to be called Faithelicious. This is another wonderful episode here on Faithelicious and Friends, and I do not take it for granted that you're here. Thank you so much for being here. For those of you who are just joining us, you are welcome. Please subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, and also don't forget to hit the thumbs up. And then there's a little bell on the side where you can hit just so that you're notified every time we put up something. So I do not take it for granted that you're here, as I said earlier on, and I just want you to know that this is a place where we keep things real. Now, I have someone special today on Faithelicious and Friends. I am super excited to have her because she's one busy bee. So it's a big deal that she's here today. I have the Director of ADVAPRO, and also she is the founder for WYE Network. They had an amazing session just a few days ago, and I'll tell you a little bit about that later on. But I've got with me today Mrs. Helen Ofili. You are welcome.
Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for squeezing out time to be here today.
It's my pleasure. Thank
you.
Now,
there was so much that was said during the session at WYE Network, but one key thing was entrepreneurship, you know. And I remember you said something. You said that you know, it's sort of like a blessing in disguise that things are a bit tough right now in the country, in Nigeria, because it has forced people to stand up and be entrepreneurs, you know, start one business or the other.
That's true.
But we want to make sure that people get it right. So what does it mean to be entrepreneurial? I hope I pronounced that right.
It basically means when you set out to own or run a business. You understand? That's basically what it is. And it is a process. You know, it starts with the idea of what you want to do. And we usually advise people who want to start a business to have this idea that they are really passionate about, because the passion keeps you going when the times are really
difficult.
Tough.
Yeah.
And with the passion and the idea, you need to sit down and create for yourself a business plan. The business plan enables you to have a perspective of literally everything you need to do and prepare yourself directly for things that might come up in the course of that entrepreneurship. So usually we say have a 5-year business plan.
Yeah, but you see, that's the thing. A lot of people who want to start one business or the other right now, probably all they have is the idea. They have the idea and have no clue how to draft out a good business plan.
It's just a simple guide. That's what it is. It's a simple guide that tells you, look, I'm going to start from A, B, C, D. I need to rent. How much is it going to cost me? I need to buy, these are equipment that I'm going to need if I'm going to go into manufacturing, if I'm going to go into buying and selling, you know.
Just a plan.
Just a plan. That's what it is. And then you get to look at costing. So up front, you have a document that says to you, yes, I have the funds and the resources to do this. Yes, I will be able to push this far, because if you do a proper detailed business plan, you will be able to say, these are my competitors, or these are the people that are doing this to some extent. You might not be able to look at everywhere, but within the scope of what I'm going to do, my little one, the people who are doing it, this is what they're doing, right? And this is how the pricing is in the market, because there is no idea you have that is new.
Well, yes, that is true. That is very, very true.
The key thing is, how do I differentiate my idea or my business from the other person's business in such a way that it attracts people to buy my product as against the other product, or buy my service as against the other service.
So it's like something someone said about being creative.
That's what it is.
There is nothing new. The key is to be unexpected.
Yes.
So what would you say are some of the things that, I don't know how to phrase this, a sure way for failure? Because we talk about, trying to be successful, but, there are people who are probably making mistakes and not knowing that this is a path to failure.
When you don't plan at all, it's a sure path to failure.
Yep.
You
fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Exactly. So you've got to plan. I mean, there's the saying that goes, when opportunity preparedness meets opportunity.
Success is inevitable.
And if it's the other way around, unpreparedness and opportunity is disaster.
Failure.
That's what it is.
True.
So you must plan, and that's really what a business plan does for you. It does not have to be a 50-page document.
Okay.
It doesn't.
Okay.
You understand?
Well, it's Faithelicious and Friends, and today we're talking about entrepreneurship. And remember, if you have any concerns, any questions, you can feel free to drop them in the comment section. And of course, we'll give feedback. But don't touch that. Don't move a muscle. Don't move a muscle. We'll be right back with more here on Faithelicious and Friends. Welcome back. It's Faithelicious and Friends, and I've got with me Mrs. Helen Ofili. She's the Director for ADVAPRO and the founder of WYE Network. We're looking at entrepreneurship, and one thing that is synonymous with wanting to start a business is mentorship. I know mentorship on its own is another long discussion, but just one question I want to ask with regards to that is, how does one find a right mentor?
You first of all have your business idea, you have your passion. There's something that's led you to the business idea.
Yeah.
It could be someone you see whose personal brand has grown, who is in the same business line, who you feel is doing great.
Good.
So you now say, okay, I think this person is good enough or might be able to mentor me. There must be something that draws you to that person. Now the question is, does the person have the time to mentor you?
Now that's the next question I was going to ask. When you pick a mentor, must it be someone you have access to or someone you can just read up on?
Your mentor has got to have a one-on-one with you. If your mentor doesn't have time for you, I mean, how is he going to mentor you?
True.
It's a direct relationship, If the person can mentor you online and the person feels that they will be able to mentor you online, well, all well and good. There's so much technology going on that maybe it will work.
True.
But I try as much as possible to mentor people directly.
I think I wouldn't have done this justice if I don't ask this next question. Given the structure we have on ground here in Nigeria, and the fact that fund is not something that you have easy access to, you don't have easy access to grants and the rest, what would your advice be to someone right now listening, saying, look, I'm an entrepreneur, I have my business plan, I have someone I'm talking to, but I need funds?
First of all, how much funds do you require? How much of your own seed capital do you have? And that's why your business plan comes into place. Now, have you been able to look at it and say, okay, this is how much you require, and at what point in time will you require it? Is it a phased out approach, or do you need it in full force? And that's why we always talk about resource sharing for some cases.
Okay.
Because some of the funds that you require will be for office setup, or for this setup, or for that setup. And if it's for office setup and you're able to do an office sharing thing with a non-competing business, you now discover that you can cut down the cost of your rental, every other, some of the overheads, you cut it down, sizably, and that reduces your expense. Okay? But you must be able to put in some seed into it yourself.
Of your
own funds. I believe that when you put a seed into it, it's a commitment from yourself that you're serious about this business.
Now that we talk about money, one other part of starting a business that I want you to talk a little bit about, which I know is something you're passionate about, is branding. Now, whenever we hear that word branding, what comes to mind is time to spend money.
No. No.
Okay.
It can be done on a budget. It depends on your strategy. Branding does not have to be expensive. It depends on your strategy. Coca-Cola did not wake up and start spending billions of dollars from the get-go. It depends on your product, depends on the market, your target market. You understand?
Yeah.
Now, I've always believed a lot in what I called experiential branding, experiencing the brand. Now, the key thing there is that the service or the product you're putting out there must work, must be effective, must be efficient, must be something that people need. It's when it doesn't work that there is a problem.
Yeah. Wow. That's a whole lot. But let's see if I got this right.
Yeah.
First, you have to identify your passion.
Yeah.
Then afterwards, make a business plan before you start talking about getting a mentor. And branding is not so expensive. You just have to cut it to your own size. Okay, quite interesting.
That's what it is.
That's what it
But
is.
the key thing is you must always distinguish, and differentiate. Well, let's just use differentiate. Your product or your service or your concept. Make it unique. Differentiate it from what every other person has. As much as you can. That's the key thing. Now, when you have that differentiated product or service or concept, then it's easier for you to be able to brand it. You understand? Right?
I do.
So you then name it. It now becomes, you name that distinctive concept, product, or whatever. It now becomes a brand.
Friends.
Thank you. So that's the brand name. And then when you now start, putting it out there, communicating it out there, then you're branding it. You understand?
Brands are made in the minds of people.
Exactly. Branding is perception. And perception is what? Reality. You understand?
Yeah.
For as long as we're getting good stuff out of Faithelicious and Friends, we're going to we just believe that, oh, wow, you want to hear something, go to Faithelicious and Friends.
That's right. That is right, people. Well, before, we wrap things up, I just, to anyone who's listening right now, who's still on shaky grounds, saying, I hear all this, you're saying it's beautiful, but, I still don't know what to do or how to start, Maybe the question I'm trying to ask is, are there basic survival skills for staying afloat in business, especially to a startup?
Once you've made up your mind to go into business, don't start and stop. Right? Be passionate about what you want to do. There will be a lot of people who will tell you can't. Oh, definitely. The people who are willing to pull you down and say you can't. When we started WYE Network, we didn't think people were going to be able to sign on. But WYE Network is unique in the sense that we not just give you the ideas, we show you how to do it. Nike is still making new shoes, refurbishing, coming up with new ideas. Coca-Cola is still doing all sorts of things, coming up with new products. Everybody is still at it. It's a continuous process.
It never stops.
Exactly. So start somewhere and start talking about it. Start living the dream. Start talking about it as if it's already here.
Happening. What I love is that the way you broke it down, right? It doesn't sound so complex anymore. But with the way you've broken it down now, I don't think there's anyone who has a dream in their heart who wouldn't at least get up and say, let me start with these steps. Yes. I think we're going to call this one the ABCs of entrepreneurship. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You've said so much, and I believe that someone, is going to go out there, start their business, and they'll remember that they heard it here first by Mrs. Helen Ofili. It's such an honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Faith.
And thank you for listening, for being a part of this project. Like I always say, I do not take it for granted that you're here. I really do appreciate you. Let's not forget to hit the thumbs up button, and also remember to subscribe. And of course, hit the little bell by the side for notifications. Now, the conversation can continue in the comment section. Just drop a message, and I promise we will, respond to any and every comment that is dropped. If you want to get across to her, just send an email on the email address that's on the screen, and I'm sure they'll reply. Or you can just drop a comment here in this video, and I will make sure it gets to her. I promise. Okay, and that's all we can take on this episode on Faithelicious and Friend. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful time. Bye bye.